Welcome back to the Corby Pole Fair 2002. In last week's programme we saw the reading of the Charter, an ancient document originally issued by Queen Elizabeth I in 1585, giving certain privileges to the villagers of Corby, such as the right to allow their pigs to feed on the acorns in Rockingham Forest. Following the first reading of the Charter, outside St John's Church at 6 a.m. on a cold, wet morning, the Mayor, Rector and eldest native resident, Lillian Evans, were carried by chairs on poles for further readings at the White Hart and the Cardigan Arms. On Pole Fair Day, which is held only once every 20 years, the village is closed to traffic and visitors have to pay a £1 toll to enter. Anyone trying to avoid this is traditionally thrown into the stocks, although I'm not sure this was the case with these captives. After the pageant, held at Rowlett County Primary School, depicting the granting of the Charter and witnessed by the Duke of Gloucester, the rain finally ended and Corby Old Village came to life as thousands of visitors paid their tolls and entered through the gates. There were a wide range of stalls, shows and entertainments taking place throughout the village and in the two fields, the Charter Field and West Glebe Park.
Well, I've been here since very early this morning when it was still quite damp in the air. It's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon and sun's turned up with Gina from Northampton. How are you doing, Gina? First pole fair, is it?
It is, Chuck, my very first pole fair, and I'm looking forward to the afternoon's festivities.
Let's party on!
One of the main attractions was the Greasy Pole, where all comers were invited to try to climb this slippery tree trunk to retrieve the large ham fixed to the top. Whilst the antics of the climbers caused great amusement for the onlookers, Gina found another group of spectators watching Corby Judo Club.
I'll tell you what, you wouldn't wait. Not you yet, Nick. Right, you again. Hold on,
well, the Judo Club's been going for over 30 odd years in Corby now. Me and Joe's been doing judo for 28 years and actually run the club for the last 20.
Right, you, what's your game? Okay, big boy, you
Really what we're trying to do is we're trying to generate a little bit of awareness for kids, etc. That there are things to do in the town. Really it's a self-confidence booster. It's good for self-confidence, women, children, as you see, old fellas as well, you know. We all sort of have, it's a good family club, and you know, we sort of invite people into the club to try and sort of continue that through for the next sort of 25, 26 years.
Me! This is French Randoy, I said. Speed down again. You tell who wears the trousers in that house.
So can you tell me, what were you doing as part of your display here today?
Well, we're doing the basic warm-up, which is doing exercises, stretching exercises, doing the break falls, which is the most important part of judo because you've got to learn to land. And then we're doing demonstration of one-man attack, five-man attacks, doing a blind man attack, which we've also got a blind man in the club. He was doing an attack of 5 attacks. So I mean, it is designed for anybody who's mentally, mainly physically impaired, you know, or just standard people.
That's Michelle.
I'm Lily. Hello.
Go on, big brother. You go in, you go in, you go. Come on, come on. Right. Go pick on the wee boy.
So how important important do you think the Corby Pole Fair is to the people of Corby?
I think it's very important. This is my second one. Bob and I both done the last judo competition or the judo demonstration at the last Pole Fair, and at that time we were doing wrestling as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important. I think it's very important to keep the culture going. That it's grown from.
Through. Moroki Sinagi, double arm shoulder throw. Lifting drawing up.
So can anybody of any age come and join your club?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're a 5-year-old, the age doesn't matter, because I'm 52, so now I'm still training sort of hard. As long as you've got the mentality and you're physically fit inside, your heart's fairly strong, and you've got the mentality that you want to actually get fitter. If you don't want to get fitter, there's no point in coming, because judo is a physically demanding sport. Because there's a lot of throws, pulling around, and it does require a lot of stamina.
Can I also say that we do have in our club 3 or 4 special needs people with learning difficulties and that sort of thing. So I mean that's another area that really has to be encouraged, because we can go away to competition with our special needs kids and the whole circuit recognise them as special needs, and as I say, it becomes a whole family sort of situation. So we encourage special needs as well, because they're no different to anybody else. They may just have a slower learning capacity, but as you can see, if they can actually just watch and take on board, that's also very good for them.
Wait.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All that exercise had made us quite hungry, so after a delicious barbecue lunch at the White Hart, Chuck set off to find a less strenuous activity. And it wasn't long before he found 70s glam rock band Hogwash on the stage outside the White Hart.
Well, it's my third pub of the day, having started so early this morning, but I'm joined by Roger and Martin of Hogwash. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So what's the point? We've just heard you playing, seen a bit on the telly, of course. What's happening tonight?
More of the same, but better.
And louder.
And louder. And faster.
Bring your earplugs, mate.
Rock and roll is here in the car park.
It is extreme.
So Hogwash, you're going to play your usual kind of set of 70s rock and roll covers?
Oh, yes. Full 70s glam gear.
Mad guitarist, can't get enough of
You can't get enough of him.
Again!
You can't get rid of him either.
So are you enjoying the festivities here at the Pole Fair?
Definitely.
Oh, we brought the sun out. As soon as we started playing, the sun came out.
It's a sign of things to come. As long as the sun doesn't come out at 9 o'clock tonight, we'll be okay.
That would be quite bizarre.
Otherwise the light show will be
almost
quite
medieval.
It would be, yeah.
Can we have the monitors up, please?
Outside the White Hart, the roadblock pays testament to the number of visitors now queuing to enter Corby Pole Fair, as the line of people waiting to be admitted now stretches right back across the railway bridge, nearly to West Glebe Park. Everyone's happily paying their £1 toll to enter the old village, because you know what happens to you if you don't pay.
We didn't do it! We didn't do it! We paid to get in!
Yeah, they all say that. But now that the rain has stopped and the sun's almost breaking through, the stocks in the jam give the perfect opportunity for a photograph. Meanwhile, the crowds are continuing to flood into the Pole Fair from the town via the White Hart entrance as we prepare for another traditional part of the celebrations. Led by the cadets from the Air Training Corps, the procession makes its way from the Charter Field, up the jam, along the High Street into Cottingham Road, and across to West Glebe Park. Next, the Galliford Omnibus, drawn by 2 fine Shire horses. This old-time bus is no replica, but the genuine item. It was built by the Gloucester Wagon Company around 1880 and originally served on the Ross-on-Wye bus route. It was purchased by Galliford's in 1985 and completely restored to its former glory, specifically for events like this. Following that, more people colourfully dressed in period costume, and the carriage bearing the Mayor of Corby, Councillor Betty Wade, and her consort, Jim Wade. Corby Rose Queen and her attendants. The members of Corby Historical Society, who we met at St John's Church. Queen Elizabeth I, accompanied by Sir Christopher Hatton, and the other members of Corby Theatrical Society, who earlier in the day performed the pageant, telling us the story of the granting of the Charter. Legend has it that Queen Elizabeth I granted the Charter to the people of Corby in gratitude for the actions of villagers who rescued her when she was thrown from her horse and landed in a treacherous bog during a hunting visit with Sir Christopher Hatton at Kirby Hall. Another theory is that the Queen granted the Charter as a favour to Sir Christopher Hatton, her close friend and Lord Chancellor, a man who often entertained her at Kirby Hall. It's more likely, however, that the Charter was actually granted in return for a cash payment to the monarch. So I think we'll stick to the story of Queen Elizabeth being thrown from her horse in a riding accident. Sounds much more romantic. Fundraising for charity plays a large part in the Corby Pole Fair, and it's interesting to note that in the first pole fair held after the Second World War, a mock fair held in 1947, as the 1942 event had to be downscaled, no fewer than 50 local girls volunteered their services as collectors. And the reason? Nylon stockings were a new invention and still very much in short supply after the war, so the organisers offered the girl who collected the most money a pair of nylons as a prize. Fortunately, no such inducement is necessary today. And that's all we have time for just now, but join us after the break when we'll be visiting Westglebe Park for more from the Corby Pole Fair 2002.